All right, guys. Thank you for joining me tonight. Appreciate it as always. Let's pull this up. Let me know how it sounds. Oh, anyway. So 5 by 5. Thank you, Mouse in the house. Appreciate it. Someone said no snow. There's no snow here. At least not in New York. All right. All right. Good. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. So let's get into it. First of all, I'd like to say that this week, I know I didn't have too many things going on, or rather, too many videos and or live streams. I was in Texas training with Refuge Medical. That's Bear Independence, like medical business, if you will. And it was a stop the bleed course, except for they don't call it that. It's more like bleeding control. It was pretty cool. It was really intense, and there were some times in that training where I was like, "What the fuck's the point?" And then you find out what the point is at the end. So it's pretty cool. If you're looking to learn how to stop bleeding or to prolong somebody from dying until real help gets there, that's a definitely a good training course to take. It's probably one of the only intense stop bleed courses that puts you in a high stress situation where you have to think while you're being stressed out, if you will. Joel, the stage 4 training, uh, they were talking about it. I don't know what the plan is. You would have to ask them, but they were talking about implementing something close to it. Uh, but again, that is not for me to speak about. But you could probably ask them directly. They might tell you about it or not. A Tractor Supply promoting drag queen for kids. Resist the rainbow. Yeah. Listen, I guess I missed that. Thankfully, I did. I mean, not like if I heard about it, I was going to go down there and do anything about it. I wasn't going to protest that. I was too busy training. Um, so yeah, and guys, you can't with their class, you can't take uh, responder 3 without taking responder 1 and 2, right? It's pretty intense. You have to learn the basics. So yeah. Okay, sorry, looking at that. But again, it was a really good course. You walk away with a lot, and you walk away with knowing different situations. So if you have tunnel vision, or you have a lack of imagination, this will definitely open up your imagination onto so many different variables that can happen, and so many ways you can counter those variables so that you don't end up in a shit situation. But they try to put you in impossible scenarios, just so that you could think your way out of it, if that makes sense. A lot of it, like one of the instructors, Phelps, said that a lot of it is breathing. You breathe correctly, you get enough oxygen in, you reduce tunnel vision, and you reduce the railroad effect, right? So, again, cool course. I would like for them to come up here. I know that they have a Second Amendment issue with New York State, so let's see if we can find another way to get them up here and train. That would be a cool thing. Resist, yeah. So I was an EMT, and it wasn't so much a refresher because when I was an EMT, we didn't do tourniquets. We didn't have tourniquets. Matter of fact, while we were training, this was back in 2000, when we were training, they said that tourniquets weren't a necessity because you can get them to the hospital in a short amount of time because there's hospitals all over New York City. Which, looking back on it now, that was a stupid ideology, right? You think it doesn't matter. It takes 2 minutes to bleed out. So tourniquets weren't really a thing in EMS. I know certain EMS agencies, they carry tourniquets. The FDNY didn't. So when we finally got tourniquets, we got tourniquets shit after the Boston bombing, whenever that was, like right after the Boston bombing. And right after the Boston bombing, they give us tourniquets, but they're like, all right, guys, here's your tourniquets. And then they just throw it at the fucking firehouse and said, here's a pamphlet to read and good luck. They didn't give us any formal training on the tourniquets. Though, guys, it is self explanatory. A tourniquet is self explanatory. It is amazing how many people fuck up trying to put on a tourniquet, though. So there is that. Retired Army Ranger. I was an EMT B, basic EMT or BLS, if you will, basic life support. Papo Medic had a vid recently. Yeah, so resist the rainbow. Here's the deal. I'll do videos. I'm gonna do another updated video on how to apply a tourniquet. Being that I was able to use two different tourniquets than the ones that I use now. And those two I like. Actually, I have a cat, but the soft T tourniquet I learned how to use, which again, they're self-explanatory. But I'm definitely going to do an update on it because there was a lot of new information I learned, and a lot of old school information that I was still running with, that is no more. Right. So like releasing the tourniquet a little bit to let the bad blood out. They no longer do that. They no longer suggest you do that. Rather, sorry. So it's pretty it was a pretty eye-opening course. Again, a lot of shit was updated for me, so I got to learn a lot of new shit, and I got to meet cool people, which is more importantly, a lot of cool people, and we were it was a good time. Like I said, I suggest anybody looking to take that course, take the course. You could learn about putting a tourniquet on all day, guys. All day. You can sit here, watch videos left and right, and you'd be like, man, I know how to put a tourniquet on. Okay. So now, can you put a tourniquet on under stress? Right? Resist the rainbow, I will. If I can remember that by the end of this video, I'll take a look at it. Or you can send me the link via email, and then I'll definitely take a look at it. Because I'll remember by then. Pootie. The one other person on this chat that watched Pootie Tang that even knows who that is. That's it's an embarrassment to actually admit to watching that movie or even that skit on the Chris Rock show. But anyway, yeah, guys. Again, you could look at this shit all day. You have to take the course. You have to know what it's like to be stressed or shocked or something happened like that, and then you jump into action or put this on. It doesn't always go according to plan. Now, thank God, because I put it on a million times, I was able to get it on really quick. But there are a lot of people out there that just don't under pressure. When you're under pressure, things change. So again, taking these scenario-based classes, guys, is, I would say, important for a lot of us, for us preppers to take, because it opens us up to learning about ourselves and how we function under stress. Now, keep in mind, under scenario stress, I don't function that well. Under real life stress, I function great. So there was something to be said about me trying to learn in a scenario setting versus a real setting, which I was frustrated with myself because after we were done with the scenario, I was like, what the fuck, man? I've done this shit in real life. Like, I've been out in the street, not with the FDNY, and stopped bleeding on a guy that got shot in the legs. I've done shit like stop bleeding when people got cut in their hand or a neighbor cut their hands. Like, I've done this shit in real life on my own. But when you are in a classroom setting, I guess, it's a little different. So, yeah. Sherry said she's done the training. Somebody else just said they did the training when they were in Philly. Yeah, so you have to keep your eyes open for when they come close by. Like I said, I'm hoping to have them come up to New York, but Philly's pretty close. It's pretty close to us New Yorkers anyway. So something to stay abreast. They're going to have a lot more classes next year, so do yourself a favor. Stay refugemedical.com, and just go on there, guys, and look at their training schedule. They have way more classes this year than they have in the previous year. So they're moving up the ranks, if you will, in training. So matter of fact, I'll put this in a link. So right now, guys, for Shabbat, their website is down. So tomorrow, I guess at 5, they put it back up again. But I'm just dropping this in the link. I'm dropping the link, sorry, in the chat so that you guys could take a look at it when they go back online. Meanwhile, get a sensitivity class mandatory work this. And Terry M, thank you for bringing that up. Right? Keep in mind, guys, when you go to your job will not pay for scenario-based trainings. They won't pay for companies like Refuge Medical to come and train employees how to put tourniquets on, how to respond to office shootings and things like that. But they want you to take a course on how to be sensitive to the LGBT community, right? Or how to be sensitive to black people, or how to be sensitive to Spanish people or Chinese. Like, enough already. You know what? If you're that sensitive, you don't need to be in the workplace. That's number one. Number two, there is a higher probability of an on-the-job shooting or office attack, if you will, than there is by somebody fucking saying some dumb shit to you and you dying from that, you know? Oh, man, you're just stupid and black. And then you miraculously die from words. Like, no one has ever died from words, right? And I mean, when someone curses you out and says, fuck you, you're a piece of shit, no one just keels over and dies from that being said to them. But people have died with bullets flying in the air or bullets flying through fucking office walls, right? So, again, you can also actually company to have guys like these. I would rather have Refuge Medical train you guys because I went through it. And again, it was on the level, and they're more sincere. That's the other thing too. They don't look down on you. They when they yell at you, you could still tell they care. Versus other training I've taken, where if they yelled at you, you like at that moment you were a piece of shit to them. You know. So there's never such a time when you're a piece of shit to them. They just want you to push through the pain, and that's the crazy shit. So anyway, guys, outside of that that nice little spiel, again, and people go, and I know somebody on here, words are deadly. Not really. I've never listened. I've been called a nigger a handful of times. I don't think I've ever lost consciousness or died. So again, not deadly in that sense. You know, insulting maybe, but deadly no. You always make spam pronouns so much. Yeah. So again, guys, it's these are the type of trainings we should be doing. People like the school shootings, kids should be taking this course. I know that they want to do a kids course, but it's hard because to train kids, there's so many variables in different states, and different states have different laws. But kids should be learning. Sadly enough, guys, kids should be learning this. But keep in mind, kids were learning how to duck under a desk during a nuclear attack, right? Though that wasn't going to save them, that was their thing, teaching kids how to deal with disasters. These are one of the disasters, unfortunately, we can't avoid. So, anyway, with that, guys, let's get right into the show. Or let's get back into the show. Or let's start the show, however you want to look at it. But anyway, guys, so, of course, every day there's something new. I hope everybody's paying attention to more people passing away. And it seems that more high-profile people are passing away suddenly. I hope you guys are paying attention to that. I think next year it's going to get pretty interesting, especially if a bunch of laws or bills pass that state that you need to take, or rather kids need to take the booster shots or the arm tickets, right? If those things actually go into play and they implement those here in the United States, we're definitely going to see a rise in a lot of bullshit. So just stay abreast of what's going on with these bills. I know they were trying to pass them earlier this year. A lot of them did not pass. They are reintroducing them to the the Senate floor again, I think it is, next year in January 5th or something like that. So again, just keep your ear close to the ground and see what's going to happen with those. We are undoubtedly going to see more people next year not make it. Right. So uh, that being said, the human depopulation, guys, is a real thing. Right. So I talked about human depopulation in one of my other live streams, I guess. Right. But there is an actual meeting, and listen, these world politicians, right? These world politicians, guys, they have these meetings, these committee meetings, all over the place, all over the world at any given time. And a lot of them, as of recent, within the last 10 years or so, they've been so focused on climate change and biodiversity. Uh, and biodiversity is, guys, is the variety and or variable of life on this planet. It measures the variations of genetics, species, and the ecosystem levels here on this planet. Obviously, this planet, right? So you're going to start hearing biodiversity summits, biodiversity levels, uh, the biological diversity of certain animals being affected, and how certain animals are dying off, and how this is going to lead to uh, the human population dying off, right? Because just like bees, um, without bees, the planet can't function, right? But there are other flying animals that do pollinate, just not at the same rate as bees. Just keep that in mind. Um, I learned about flies, for example, sorry, cross pollinating when we had tomatoes in our windowsill. Um, they started growing. So my wife had this tomato plant in the windowsill for like a year or so, and nothing was growing on it. And one summer we had too many flies in the house, and then all of a sudden we had tomatoes start growing on the vine, tomato vine. So anyway, we go onto the internet and look it up, and flies can cross pollinate as well. So bees are not just the only um, bugs, if you will, but they are the primary at doing so, if that makes sense. You should check out Black Scout's survival vid last night. Yeah, I'm gonna try to transition. I'm not trying. I'm transitioning back, guys, into doing survival videos as well, as long as these commentaries, if you will, with everything that's going on the world. I just want to get back to getting in the woods and doing survival skills. And again, my other channel, this channel, if you look back on a lot of my older videos, I did a lot of shelter building and survival skill stuff. But I'm gonna get back to more in-depth stuff. Anyway, so guys, this summit they had, or committee meeting, whatever you want to call it, it's called COP15. I'm pretty sure it's COP15, but I just say COP15 because the way a lot of the news agencies wrote it out, it was COP15 and then COP17, 27. Sorry, so COP15, COP27. If I'm not mistaken, I forgot what they actually stood for. I'll pull it up, but it was some kind of United Nations Council of Committee Affairs or some crazy shit on the climate, something like that. So anyway, I thought I wrote it down, but I didn't. So the fate of the entire living world will be determined at COP15 UN Biodiversity Summit. COP15 aims to ensure the protection of 30% of the planet, guys, by 2030. Now, listen to the years they are using to meet their agenda, right? So they want to protect 30% of the planet by 2030, which to me, 30% of the planet is not enough, but whatever. As well as directing $500 billion in the agricultural subsidies, that support the destruction of nature. So they're looking to protect a lot of nature. They're actually looking to protect oceans like they do national parks, which I thought was pretty interesting. But when they threw the year out 2030, I'm like, what does that mean? Does that mean climate change lockdown or climate lockdown or environmental lockdown? However you want to look at it. But nonetheless, yes, 30%. I don't think 30% is enough. But listen, that's just listen. For somebody that does a lot of camping and hiking and shit like that, um, you see how towns, states, cities sold out their natural environment, right? Letting big corporations build certain facilities in the middle of a fucking forest, right? With that, guys, you build a facility in the middle of a forest, you also got to build a road. So not only do you got to knock down an overwhelming amount of trees just to build these facilities, now you got to knock down more trees to build this road, right? But that again, and you could build these facilities anyway. It don't necessarily need to be in the shrinking forests we have around the world. Anyway, guys, the vision for the 2050 agenda is biodiversity is valued, conserved, restored, and wisely used, maintaining ecosystem services, sustaining a healthy planet, and delivering benefits essential for all people. That's the 2050 agenda, right? So now, the depopulation agenda, guys, that we talked about before was for 2030 and 2050. 2050 sounds more like a backup plan because it sort of contradicts 2030. Then you also have the 2040 agenda, which I'm like, what the fuck is this? So it seems like every 10 years they're going to hit a marker that's going to rattle us for the next 20 years, right? If that makes sense. Or 25 years, if that makes sense. Right? Notice again, guys, the 2 years that are being mentioned, 2030 and 2050. That stood out to me when I was reading these two different articles. One article had 2030 as the point to save the planet or 30% of the planet, and then the other one was talking about calming the environment down or the climate down by 2050. To achieve those two, at least 2050, you need some kind of climate change lockdown, right? So that's always going to be an issue, guys. For the next foreseeable future, we're going to start hearing more about electric cars, which are starting to become a fallacy, right? The whole electric car is going to save the planet. Bullshit. Don't use fireplaces or restricting people from using wood burning stoves or their fireplace. Another fallacy. People have been using fireplaces and wood burning stoves forever. Meanwhile, if you just stop the chemical factories that we have all over the planet, you stop a lot of them or shut down or regulate those, there goes your bigger part of saving the planet. Not locking people down and telling people what to do. Because notice, guys, all of this is focused around people, the citizens of the world, not the corporations of the world, right? It's all bullshit. And a lot of us are seeing right through it. So anyway, guys, the climate change lockdown is probably going to be derived out of this. Um, Being that they're trying to solve climate change issues with COP27 and solve the biodiversity problem at 2050, this is definitely something for them to sit around, rub their hands together, and have nefarious thoughts on how to fuck the citizens. Though somehow they don't think they're fucking us. They think um, they're doing us a favor. I guess that's their ideology. I have no clue. Um, so, all right. One researcher said failure is not an option this time as Earth's terrestrial, marine, and freshwater system are starting to collapse under the pressure to meet the needs of a global population that will soon approach 10 billion. Now, guys, pay attention to the population reaching 10 billion. It seems like scientists are scared that once we hit that 10 billion number, and they've been saying this for a few decades now, but once we hit this 10 billion number of people, all hell's going to break loose. We're definitely going to see food decline. We're going to see fresh water decline or fresh drinking water decline. We're going to see a lot of places become affected by this 10 billion number, because after that it only gets higher and demands to meet the food demands that need to be met to feed 10 billion people are going to become increasingly hard. Now, do I believe that's true? Yes, I definitely believe that more people, less supplies on this planet. That's without a doubt. But If we can put a man on the moon and we could have a mission to Mars, we can figure out how to feed 10 billion people without feeding them bugs, right? Without feeding them fucking fake protein bars and synthetic meat and lab grown chicken. We can definitely figure out how to get there. But the fact that they're not trying to figure out how to get there, they're trying to figure out an easier way by, again, feeding us bugs and shit, there's a definite issue, right? They want to go the easier route because it's going to save them money. Is what it comes down to. So again, guys, both of these plans sound like something. This sounds like something they could implement. Sorry, nefarious ideas. That's all it is. That's all I'm seeing. So sorry. Sorry about that. Anyway, with that, guys. Now, for those of you that might not know, the 2030 agenda is it's a sustainable development of the planet. It's a world free of poverty, hunger, disease, and free of fear and violence, with equitable and universal access to quality education, healthcare, and social protection. This is from the United Nations Trust Fund for Human Security. This is a quote from them. Let's see where else they go. To safe drinking water and sanitation where food is sufficient, safe, affordable, and nutritious. Bugs, right? Synthetic meat. Where habits are safe, keep this is the more important part of this quote. Where habits are safe, resilient, and sustainable, and where there is universal access to affordable and reliable and sustainable energy. Where habits are safe, guys. So that means they want to change our habit around to make things better, I guess. I mean, um, again, this is something that we definitely need to start paying attention to because with Klaus Schwab, what, a couple of days ago, or maybe a couple months ago, making a statement about we need a systematic transformation of the world. This is all part of it. Now, I'm going to now go and read his book, The Fourth Industrial Revolution. In that book is the roadmap to what to expect and what we can fight against. I think more importantly, guys, if we were to read this book like a textbook, like a love letter of destroying the or depopulating the human race, sorry, we can know what to expect and we can counteract it if we all were to read this book. Not all of us, but most of us. I can't see all of us sitting down reading this book and having any kind of fun with it. Undead, thank you for the donation. Ilea, thank you for the donation. And thank you, sorry. Thank you for the certificate, by the way. Headlines with a voice. Thank you for the donations. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. All right. So, I mean, again, guys, that book, I think everyone should read. And I'm gonna buy it. I guess after this, after we're done with this, buy Idiot Books used. All right. Jeanette says buy used books. Roger that. That makes sense. Yeah, but again, and guys, it's just amazing that we are being distracted with bullshit, right? I mean, like, and I don't think we are distracted because we, the prepper community, or if you want to call us conspiracy theorists, I think we're paying attention to what's going on, right? So we're looking at, for example, the trade of the century that is fucking pissing everyone off. I've never seen so many people upset about the Brittany Griner and Merchant of Debt trade. That is like by far the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life in the political game. All right, uh, Elis Marie. The book is called The Fourth Industrial Revolution. It's by Klaus Schwab, Mr. Schwab Klaus of the Schwab. The guy is I could do the fourth. Here it is. Boom. Found it without even batting an eyelash. He has an audio book. He has a hardcover book. Whatever floats your boat. Let me give you guys the link real quick. But it's a very interesting book to read. I've read bits and pieces on it. The link is in the chat, guys. Awaken. Brittany's a. I'm sorry. Awaken Herbivore. Brittany's a dude. That's. I'm sorry. Like unless he or she had that a surgery to remove breast tissue through the armpit. There's no. I saw this. Brittany has videos on TikTok with his or her shirt off. We've all seen flat-chested women. I've never seen a woman's chest that flat with nipples that resemble a guy's nipple. Sorry. You cannot convince me otherwise that is a chick. After I saw that that TikTok video, I was like, what the hell? I've been duped. I thought it was a chick. And her hands are bigger than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's hand. Like, by a lot. You know, okay, not by a lot. By like half an inch or so. That's a lot in hand size. It's a dude. All right? It's a man. So anyway. But, again, guys. Yeah, but not like that. Not like I was talking to the guy who was like, and he was like, "Yo, it's a dude. It's this, it's that." He was like, I was like, "Yo, I've seen flat chest. I've seen some chicks that were super flat chested, but when you look at the chest, it looks like a dude's chest." We're talking about the. If you guys are that curious about it, you got to look it up yourself. A guy in the refuge medical training was showing me because we were talking about it, and I had the same stance. I'm like, "Yo, that's not a fucking, that's a chick." He was like, "No, it's a dude." He showed me a picture. I'm like, I don't know. So it's like, listen, it's right up there with Michelle Obama being a dude. Like, it's right up there with it. Listen, I know that if she did, or if he did get, sorry, if she did get that surgery where he removed the breast tissues through the armpit so that there's no scarring, there is that. Because I know that, what's her name did the same thing. Ellen Page. Ellen Page did the same thing. If you looked at Ellen Page's off, no clothes, sorry, no shirt on, bare chest, posing like I'm happy being a guy picture, it's sort of the same thing, but whatever, man. It's a dude. I will ride that one to my grave. You're not gonna fucking change my mind on that one. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Not the point. So whether it's a dude or not, it's actually irrelevant. So sorry for that tangent, but that whole trade was definitely like they were blocking something, guys. All right, so this trade happens when it could have happened. What, I think a couple months ago when they were talking about it, and then it died. Now we interestingly got shit going on about the economy about to take a shit. BlackRock was talking about we're about to see a recession we've never seen before. I'm like, what? That's called a fucking depression. Not the point. So we got a lot of shit happening around the world, and then they released this thing at the moment, guys, where now the world is focused on this. Because we're like, what the fuck? How the fuck do we do an arms deal? How do we free an arms dealer for a shit basketball player? Guys, it's if she was like LeBron James at that level of playing, maybe I could understand it, like maybe. But she is a shit WNBA player. Shit. And they traded they traded a worldwide arms dealer with connections to, if I'm not mistaken, either Hezbollah or Al Qaeda. That's the fucking issue with this whole thing. Right? So now they got this guy is back in play. Do I think they're going to put him back in play right away? I don't know. Putin's probably definitely going to let him go back in society, but who knows? Who the fuck knows, guys? There's a definite bigger distraction. I mean, we're definitely being distracted from something bigger that is going on. That is without a doubt. You know, Brittany Renner being a dude or not, or being freed, it's fucking, it's a distraction. That's all it is. Elizabeth says she was getting female hormone injections while in prison, so they say. You know what, Elizabeth, I might not believe that because it's Russia, and Russia doesn't play that shit. You know, so again, I don't know. And that's the other thing, right? So now, of course, they free, and I'm going to get more into it later tonight, guys, because that's what I'm going to talk about in the Angry Truth. The Angry Truth, I'm going to talk more about this. I don't want to get too in depth now, but we'll talk about the troop they left behind. And listen, they're operatives that they left behind, CIA operatives that are still in somebody's prison on the other side of the world. We're going to get into that again later tonight. I don't want to fucking go down that rabbit hole because we can definitely go down that rabbit hole, right? But anyway, um, with that, man, it's we're definitely being distracted, right? And every week now, it's something new here in the city, guys. Fucking crime, it just seems to get worse, and it's just interesting that maybe I'm accustomed to the crime, or I'm being, um, or I'm just adapting to it. I don't know. Chromosomal issues. Her voice is super deep too. Harriet Tubman Shotgun said chromosomal issues. Her voice is super deep too. There could be that. There could be that. She could have chromosomal issues as well. You're right. But it's a fucking man. Can't convince me otherwise. Anyway, enough on that. Vision training was good. Training was excellent. I talked about it earlier in the live stream. The training was excellent. It was pretty fun. I do hope they open up for more training, though they have to take their time to entertain other training or scenario based trainings. But hopefully they get there. But it was fun. Yeah, you know what? New York is getting dangerous for the wife and kids. I'm accustomed to it. I'm accustomed to this chaos. I like it, right? But um, because it keeps you on your toes. At least for me, it keeps me on my toes. I don't know how people are still walking the streets oblivious to what's going on, but nonetheless, they're walking around oblivious to what's going on. Um, Dude looks like a lady. Yeah, right. Listen, guys, I can't. I mean, you know, before we get back into the subject at hand, I don't understand the I don't understand the oblivion. I can't. It's above me. Yes, awesome sauce. That people are walking around with blinders. Exactly. Like, how the fuck do you do that? You know, like, how the fuck do you walk around and just every day is good and life is great? Like, how the fuck do you walk around in that and you read in the paper every day that you know, shit is bad? Awaken or obsession. They won for Britney for support of the woke community. That is not a good enough reason. I'm sorry, Awaken or before. That is not a good enough reason for the woke community. The woke community is actually a lot smaller than you think, and it's not enough to make a difference for their vote because what's coming, it's all because of Biden. So there's no amount of freeing her that's going to change the minds of a lot of woke people who are switching over to being independent and or conservatives right now. A lot of woke folks are waking up. So that Brittany Renner shit doesn't make sense, right? And she is a man. Um, so, and listen, guys, not for nothing. I mean, I can care less if she's a dude or not. I'm more concerned about the fucking distraction. That's my concern. Awakening said, "Don't agree with it, but that's not that. That is. Listen, I know that's not their reasoning. I know for a fact it isn't because there's a couple of things going on right now that they're distracting us from. It's a distraction piece. It's not a woke people thing. You know, a couple people said that over at the Refuge Medical. Like, oh, that was just a... No, it isn't. The fuck it is. There's a million and one things they could do to get the woke people on their side. That's not one of them. It's a distraction piece. They could have let her go months ago, but instead they waited. And there was something else. If my conspiracy theory antennas are right, there was something more to that deal. There was way more to that deal because you let go a shit basketball player for a high profile guy, arms dealer. It don't make sense. Again, I don't want to go down that road too far, but Brittany Renner's a dude. Anyway, with that, guys, the distractions that are coming down the pipe are probably going to be a lot more worse, if you will. Have that, and we're definitely going to see some more fucked up distractions. That wasn't a fucked up distraction. It was a mind confusing distraction, and you're like, why the fuck did this happen, right? But distracting us from this, the planetary depopulation, whatever the fuck they're doing. The fact, guys, that so many people are all of a sudden keeling over out of nowhere. Healthy individuals keeling over for no reason. Christine Alley, for example, right? All of a sudden developed what you call a cancer early this year, and now she's dead. They said she had a short battle with cancer. All right. Who is it? Celine Dion has a rare neurological disorder, right? And more of these stories are coming out, and they distract us with this. So now all of those stories are sitting on a back burner because we're all focused on Renner. But colon, thank you. That was right. Christine Alley was colon, and Celine Dion was some kind of neurological disorder. All right. And then you got guys like John Campbell and another doctor talking about this as well. Something's up, guys. Not that something's up. We know what's up. They're trying to pull our attention away. Right? That's all. And that's a dangerous thing because we're all sitting here talking about that bullshit trade, and we have fucking people passing away at an alarming rate. Right? And now they want to push the tourniquet right arm. Here comes the smart aleck. Nice. Tourniquet right arm. Imagine. And you know what? It's funny. Here comes the smart aleck. I was actually going to put my tourniquet right next to me in case somebody did that. And I'm like, no one's going to do that. And you actually did it. Very good. But that's the other thing about the course, guys. You'll be sitting there, you're talking like we are, talking about shit. We're like, yeah. And all of a sudden, Twitch, who's one of the instructors, he'll be like, yeah, man, and I was like, drinking a Pepsi, and I saw this dude walking down the street, tourniquet left arm, he'll just like yell it out, and all of a sudden you gotta, put the tourniquet on your left arm. It's pretty cool. How by the end of the course, when they first yell it out, you see people go, they're like, tourniquet left leg, and people are like, what? Left leg? Okay. And then they're moving, like they said, in slow motion, putting it on them. I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck is that? And then by the end of the class, you see them, you see them getting it like without fucking missing a beat. Yes, Awakened Herbivore, she has been ill for a while, but last year when she all of a sudden canceled her shows, that was a sign. And I can tell you right now, it's the fucking arm ticket. So whether she's been sick for the last 12 months, the arm ticket, right? So again, guys, that's it. It is what it is. All of these people are coming down sick all of a sudden, even though you're right. She has looked sick for a while. She has been sick for a while, but definitely the arm ticket. And vision preparedness is right. This is something you learn in the course. You are your own first responder. The calling police, and listen, they opened my eyes to this shit. Calling police, firefighters, and EMT first responders, no, they're secondary. First responders are you. You are your own responder. If you are in a violent shooting, guys, if you are in a violent situation and you have the training to stop the bleeding, you are the true first responder. We, firefighters, cops, and EMS, we are secondary responders. And then third responders are when you get to the hospitals and when the hospitals and they work you up. That is a that's the difference, right? So you are your own responder, and the civilians are first responders. Again, when that kid got shot in the leg, I was able to help him with the bleeding, right? So he didn't get shot in the artery; he was shot in the meat of his thigh. Still, I was the first one there. If everybody was to take this kind of, not everybody, but if a large majority of the population was to take this training, you would be a true first responder because you would be there first, right? The last shooting at the gay nightclub, those guys in there who first of all attacked the shooter, good for them, and who also stopped bleeding where they can, they were the true first responders, right? So look at it that way, right? If you got your CPR certification, like Kate said, if you know how to do CPR, you get your CPR certification, guys. Again, someone collapses in front of you, you're the first one there, all right? Secondary responders is what they should actually be calling first responders. I guess it just sounds weird. I don't know. But nonetheless, that's what it is. Yeah, no, listen, there are a lot of people, guys, that are in reality hasn't sunk in yet about the arm ticket. It just hasn't. Now they got AIDS. um, it hasn't set in, and for some people, it has. Some people who have taken it, or those who were forced to take it, are now realizing, "Fuck, my life expectancy just dropped down dramatically from taking this shit." All right. Real Zooch said 10,000% increase in cancers. Yeah, listen, look, guys. You know, here's the one thing. There are people who are still denying this. I mean, we're looking at the numbers of people passing away. We're looking at the number of cancer rates skyrocket. What is it? The Cancer Association? I forgot what they call themselves. Their numbers, if you go on their websites, their number has skyrocketed themselves, guys. They have the number of cancer rates that have gone up, and they will tell you how much. The last time I checked, it was 300%, 300 like 20 something percent increase in a year's time. There is no fucking way you can look at that and go, oh no, that wasn't because of that. It wasn't because of the arm ticket. No way. It definitely was, right? But yet we need a concrete study and or a study. We need a concrete study to point that out. Now there was a study in France that also came out stating that there was a cancer increase because of the shots. So it's something to be said, guys. You have to pay attention to it. You can't just fucking ignore it or deny it because you might be one of the people who've taken it. Grateful Prep said he's worried because two of his three kids took it. Listen, at that point, man, if they're adults, you know, fine. But I know that my kids, they're not taking it. So if they drop the hammer in the city, we're gone. It's as simple as that. Ramiel said people in Delaware are dropping like flies. Raheem L said that people are dropping like flies in Delaware, and no nothing saying that. And yes, Brian, they're probably going to blame more climate change. Well, the weather it's getting pretty cold, and these people are sensitive to cold because it's colditis. Because they'll come up with some bullshit, and people are like that's right, it's colditis, and I am feeling a little chilly. Let me throw an extra fucking sweater on. These people will believe anything except for the obvious, right? Occam's razor, right? Most people won't want to face the fact that it's the obvious answer in front of them, right? The simplest explanation, guys, is often the right explanation. So just keep that in mind when people are not fucking admitting to themselves that this is what it could be. Again, one of my kids' mother, I told her about it now. She's starting to think the same thing. Not think, she knows it's that now. Because I said, well, what about this and what about that? And when did your symptoms start? I said, did it start after you took the second round? And she goes, shit, yeah. I go, come on, man. You know, like I said, you can't deny it anymore. What you can do, though, is attack the symptoms. Attack the symptoms that you're having, and hopefully that'll quell it off. I did meet a guy in Refuge Medical, cool dude. Wish I would have got his number. Um, where his wife passed away earlier this year because she was forced to take it. She's developed some crazy symptom or ailment, sorry, that it didn't matter whether or not she was in the hospital or not. She was probably going to die from this ailment. So anyway, yeah, guys, people are fucking dying all over the place. Vitamin D3 and K2 is supposed to do what? Chris Hines, if you can explain that. But listen, there are people whose loved ones have taken the shot, and the other party didn't. If that shedding thing is true, we have a whole new fucking round of problems, right? Casual loop, man. I don't know if some of these politicians got it. I don't think they did. I think some of them pretended to get it. You know, they said, "Oh, I got it," and then they pretended, and they went around, and they were shooting saline into them or water, you know, whatever it was. Um, oh, the K is to help absorb the D. I thought to absorb the D, you need to eat fatty foods because vitamin D3 is a fat soluble. At least that's what I thought. But again, guys, a lot of people also have healthy immune systems and they're still fucking dropping like flies, right? So, fix a flat for a large booty. Anyway, so, yeah, guys, this is definitely watching you. That's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, wait a minute, why are all these celebrities passing away suddenly, but a lot of these politicians aren't? I'm like, what the fuck is going on, right? And then I'm like, okay, all right, they didn't take it. There's no way they did. I mean, because if they did, I mean, listen, if in fact they did, fingers crossed for like Pelosi and AOC and the rest of them, you know. But if they didn't, Linda said you're correct about D3. Okay, I was. All right, that made sense. Right. So anyway, yes, I think a lot of them weren't given that, and I think some of you spoke about this is early this year. Some of you spoke about lot numbers for certain arm tickets being issued in certain areas, and I'm pretty sure if that is true, politicians were given a fake placebo, and it was unknown to them because those who got it still got sick anyway, right? Also, guys, while we are almost done with the live stream tonight, can you do me a favor? Hit the thumbs up. Get the thumbs up a little higher. It helps with the algorithm. Or the thumbs down. Whatever floats your boat. But it helps with the algorithm, you know, and YouTube and their fucking bullshitting it. Their game playing. It took you... If you took... Josh Lynn, that's a little harsh. Okay, a little harsh. He's like, if you took it or your kids took it, you deserve to perish. Again, a little harsh. Listen, you got to keep in mind, guys. This is the one thing. I don't ride that sentiment, but my sentiment is we told you people not to fucking take it. But there's a big ass button here, guys, like a huge button. People were scared. People were scared to lose their jobs. People were scared of this thing. And they were brainwashed. And they were easily brainwashed. And I know that people are like, well, you know, we shouldn't we shouldn't allow those people who are easily brainwashed to be around us. There is that thought process as well. But listen, guys, people were fucking scared, and when people are scared, they do irrational things, like believe in irrational shit, like the arm ticket. You know, believing that this thing was going to save us. It isn't, and we've said it repeatedly. And not only we've said it, but I've only came to that conclusion, guys, when they did the math, and the math did not work out. That's when I took a stance against it. I was like, whoa, you mean to tell me we're going to push some shit in less than 8 months or 9 months? And we're going to put this in the arms of people without proper testing? You can't get proper testing done in 8 months. Well, we know because we've been testing it for 8 years. Really? So now look at the drawbacks on it. Look at all the side effects. And now they're saying the side effects are because of misinformation. They treat us like we're stupid, because I think some people are. But this stupidity that I saw the other day, I'm going to read it on here and hope for the best. Hope this doesn't get taken down. Right? But, guys, a new study claims that fear-mongering and misinformation may be responsible for the adverse effects attributed to the on ticket. Misinformation and fear-mongering. First, it was climate change. Climate change was responsible for the adverse side effects you were seeing with the on ticket. Now, it's misinformation and fear-mongering. Right? So, what the fuck? Like, seriously, guys, what the actual fuck? Are we that fucking stupid? And people are. And people will read that and go, that's right. Trump and his misinformation and his fear mongering is the reason why people are dying all of a sudden. This is the direction we're going in. Trying to order dinner while I'm online. I realized just now I didn't eat, and by the time I'm done with the angry truth, I'll be hungry again. And I shouldn't be eating this late, but whatever. Yes, Santiago, what the actual fuck? Exactly. And Marvin, I wish I could make it up. Like, when I saw that, I was like, there's no fucking way that's real. There's no way on this planet that this is real. And so, of course, I go into it and I'm like, this is real. And it wasn't just one article, it was two. And there's an actual study linked to it. And I'm like, I couldn't even read the study because I was 1000% sure it's going to fling my phone out the fucking window after reading it, right? I was like, this is stupid, man. How the hell is that even possible? But that is real. That is a real excuse. Sorry. That is an excuse they're trying to make real. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. They're trying to make that excuse real, guys. And people are believing it. People will go, yes, because of Trump. These people are dying. Guys, again, news break. If you look on Newsbreak and you type in celebrity deaths, you read a couple articles, you save a couple articles, I will all but guarantee you, moving forward, you will get articles every day of people, celebrities, passing away suddenly. This person just was fighting with cancer for a year. This person developed this weird neurological disease. This person, and the neurological disease that, what's the name had? Celine Dion was something like 1 in 100 million. All right, guys? And so, again, you're seeing more celebrities with weird ailments that not a lot of people are getting, but more people are getting because. Now, the reason for these ailments, I think, is that they're being awakened. I think that a lot of us have DNA with different ailments, and yes, the hangry prepper, and it's being awakened by this arm ticket. Now, are we seeing the same problem in other countries? I know that they're seeing a problem similar to this in England and France. I don't know if they're seeing the same problem in Germany, and they're definitely not in China because China's using something else. If at all. If at all they're using it, Christy Alley. Someone said Christy Alley might have been shedded on. You see, I was thinking that too because I'm like, I thought she was against it, right? But who knows? You know, she was in Hollywood. Maybe she took and fell for it. You know, there's a couple people who took and fell for it, and they're pissed now. They're like, I was lied to. You know. Well, that's the Joseph Fox. That seems to be the plan. Listen, again, guys, this is all, you know, a lot of this stuff is conspiracy theory sounding. A lot of it is written out in a roadmap, if you will, of some sort of a way, because Klaus Schwab is telling us what's going to happen. But when we talk about this, we're conspiracy theories. But when we say, hey, this is what Klaus Schwab and his crew are planning to do, read this book, then they're like, oh, that's never going to happen. So now you got proof in front of you because it's coming out of the guy's mouth or it's coming out of that organization's mouth. And somehow it's still not going to happen. Yes, Joel, I think Bob Saget definitely died from it. I think he passed out and hit his head, period. That was all it was to it. But there were circumstances to his death that the family didn't want out, and that raised a red flag to me. But that meant something else might have happened, you know? But whatever. That again, that's conspiracy theory road as pertaining to that Bob Saget's death. As far as everything else goes, everything else is panning out, man. And the economy is the big one that everybody's trying to skip over. Right? They talk about it, they tell us it's gonna get woe, and they're like, oh shit, they just released Britney running out of jail. Guys, look at that. Focus on that right now. Meanwhile, they're fucking sitting here trying to figure out what the fuck they're gonna do next year. When the hammer drops next year, shit's going to get ugly. It's going to get out of hand. But unfortunately, we have to wait and see what's going to happen. Right? We got to wait and see where this goes. That's all I can say about that. You know, this is going to get ugly, and we have to see how bad it's going to get. It can get really bad, or it can get mildly bad, or it can be a walk in the park. But unfortunately, we will not know this until next year, and until we're probably halfway through next year, around June, July, we'll know how bad it will get, or it is, right? The central bank digital currency thing, I don't know yet. I mean, you know, they talked about implementing that next year, or opening up for a trial run next year. Sorry, so we have to wait and see on that as well. Alaska vote is rigged. Kathy Lake said her aunt passed away after the third arm ticket. Still unvaccinated. That is peculiar. Yeah. That's a peculiar one. I didn't hear him say that, but that would be, yes, very weird to say. Like, why address it at all? That is fucking peculiar. No, just said I died of a heart attack after the arm ticket. Yeah, but anyway, guys, shit's gonna get weird. That's what it comes down to. All of this, what I'm trying to say, guys, is shit's going to get very weird next year, and we have to ride it out. That's all we can do. We can theorize a lot of things. We could theorize a lot of things, but unfortunately, we have to wait and see what unfolds and how it unfolds. That's just a matter of it. You know, again, the French building an army, France building an army. The shit that I've been reading about it, I'm like, get the fuck out of here. When the hell did they grow balls and decide that they wanted to get their feet wet in actual war, you know? And yeah, the shit that's going on over there, we're not paying attention to that. No one's paying attention to that. But now that I'm paying attention to it, I'm like, holy shit, we might actually see the greatest war this planet has ever seen, right? And hopefully it doesn't unfold next year. But if it does, next year, like Joe FW just said, next year is going to be a wild ride, man. 2023 is going to be crazy. And we thought the last couple of years were crazy. No. I think we're definitely going to see some shit next year. Anyway, guys, with that being said, I'm going to head over to the Angry Truth channel. We're going to do that for about maybe 20 minutes or so. And I will start in the next 4 minutes. All right, guys, other than that, thank you for watching.